Hello and welcome to another episode of What's on the Pile. I'm Nathan Bezner, and with us is Jenner, Hsien, and Wagner. It's always the same four
Hey,
people. Hi.
Back after our
hello.
exclusive tour of Europe, Scandinavia, and the subcontinent.
And Boston.
Yeah, we
We made a
did.
trip
We
to
had
Boston
Providence.
too.
we made it to PAX. Tonight's movie,
Such as it is.
such as it is just one of many of the Easter-themed indie horror knockoffs that surprisingly aren't actually knocking anything off. There's no like patient zero of the Easter Bunny horror theme that doesn't exist. This is a knockoff without a knock to off. It is called Beasterday, the story of Peter Cottonhell, and it's about a bunch of degenerate pieces of shit, a lot of topless women going about their days, and irony. But wink, wink, nudge, nudge, we're in on it.
Now, let's not talk about the actors that way.
This is a bad movie, but we know it. We know it's a bad movie. With a completely unlikable cast, obvious references, and some truly bottom tier acting, starring Sidney Prescott, Temu Adam Driver, that one guy who looks like that other guy, and the dad who might actually be talented. I'm not sure. He
Well,
actually made me laugh. I don't know. This movie's a piece of shit. Everything about it, I hated. I even hate that it made me laugh in a couple of spots. That there was some actual good humor in it. But other than that, this was a waste of time. I don't know why we did it, other than it was another one of those cases of me being like, that title is funny. And then I got yes and well, here
Well,
we
we were
are.
looking for an Easter movie, I guess, and that's pretty slim
Yeah.
pickings. And then we just
Yeah.
kind of like picked one out of the Google search or whatever.
Yeah.
It's free on Tubi. Yay! I
I
actually
mean-
watched it on Easter too,
Oh,
Nice.
nicely done.
Nice.
with a random guy from my Discord who was like, "Sure, why not?" And I have a couple of quotes from him. One of them is, "Thanks for ruining my Sunday." Another one is, "Thank God an ad," when an ad started in the middle of the movie. And then later, when it turns out, when we didn't do the episode that week, I told him, "Well, this was for Easter, so we're probably not going to do this movie. So we watched this movie for nothing." And he was like, "Thanks a lot."
No, we're gonna talk about it for a couple
We're
of
going to
minutes
talk
at
about
least.
this a little bit.
There's not a lot to say. It's just
Yeah,
another.
there really is. There was one good line for me. There's one line in the movie I thought was funny, but I'll let you guys talk some more.
No, go ahead. Come out with
No,
the
go
funny
ahead.
line. I'm
Oh, the
interested
one,
to hear what
the
it
one
is.
funny line was, "Is that a miniature golf pencil in your pants?"
Oh yeah.
That was like the one line I thought was kind of funny. I mean, it's not a clever line or anything, but it was
No.
The opening speech. I thought the movie was actually you were tricking me, and the movie was actually going to be good.
that
when
was
the,
funny. This
when
this
the guy
speech
was
wasn't bad.
my scumbag father and whatnot,
Yeah, that was surprisingly good. That was
And
like
well
a good
written.
setup.
yeah,
I think it cannot be emphasized how completely plotless this thing is.
yeah,
There is a giant Easter bunny. It eats people. There's no origin. There's no reason. There's no reason why the giant Easter bunny exists. There's no reason why the giant Easter bunny eats the people it does. There's no reason why the Easter bunny eats people. There's a giant egg at one point
never
that we
mentioned
just
again.
forget about.
Yeah,
There's a tank at one point, but they kill it with a shotgun, and that's all it takes.
yeah, a shotgun from like 100 feet.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely. This isn't a parody of anything because it isn't anything. It would have to like be something for it to be like a mock imitation of something else, but it just isn't. It is a weird conjunction of extreme low budget horror and stoner comedy.
Yeah,
Actually, not extreme low budget, but
Show
budget.
some evidence of animal, vegetable, or mineral.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of props, I think, to I guess his name was John Paul Fedele as the mayor, who is one of the most beautifully observed pieces of shit I have seen in a movie in a long frickin' time. So at the very least, points to that dude for committing to the bit.
You know those
it
characters who are written in a certain way where they'll make a joke and they know the joke landed, and so they do another one, and everybody's like, haha, yeah.
They keep working it.
And they
They
keep
keep working
going
it,
and they
keep
keep
working
going.
it.
That's that character. That is that character because every single scene he was in was 20 minutes long, and you know they let him improvise because they're all like at the video village with their CRT monitors because that's all they could afford. With 2014, actually, they probably did have CRT monitors. uh, it just feels so lame. It's
I mean,
just
it's still badly written. I'm just appreciating the actor's commitment to the performance. I could feel that. He had a certain sincere piece of shitness to him.
local actor.
Yeah.
Doubtless. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think the most astonishing thing about this is that it was an hour and 27 minutes long. If ever there was a movie that needed to be like 72 minutes to be technically a film, just nudge over that finish line. And I have never edited a film in my life. I could point to scenes that this thing could lose.
Yeah.
And just get closer to tolerable by being shorter. But I will actually echo your point about the father. He might actually be good, and everyone else around. Actually, the piece of shit dog catcher, our supposed main secondary character,
I guess.
might
I
have
think
some talent.
He's in it more than the girl, but I feel like the girl was the main character. I think.
Yeah, the
I
girl
can't
was the
remember
main
now.
character because she was supposed to not be terrible, but
I honestly just
She was
don't
pretty
remember
frickin'
much about
terrible.
this movie.
She was an awful person.
oh, she was an awful person, but the movie didn't think she was.
Yeah.
But it's weird. The father, when the father showed up and we had a scene or two with him, I was like, yeah, this might actually be good. Trying to leapfrog from that opening, which was amusing, to the scene with the father and daughter. And what was it she said? Something to the effect of, "I'm a flower and you won't water me with your damn money," or
Yeah, you won't.
Something like that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and just
This movie has its moments, and by moments I mean it has like 4 of them.
yeah. But the dad just taking the part of a father fed up with his daughter's inability to settle on a career and actually doing something with it was kind of startling, especially in reference to the rest of the film. I didn't like where he ended up, but the pig outfit and the bacon on the fishing line was, oh geez, come on guys.
That was a little far. See,
Yeah.
that's it. That's it. Pushing it too far. Like, yeah, you had the joke, and then you lost us. Sorry. Leave them wanting more, you idiots.
If it bends, it's funny. If it breaks, anyway.
Yeah.
No,
I did
that's-
love my favorite scene was probably the lady riding the horse, because when the Beaster bunny starts chasing her and she's like, ah, and then it cuts to a shot of the horse like trotting lazily away, is one of the funniest edits I've seen in a long time. It's
at the end,
genuinely
the horse is just like chilling there.
Yeah, it's not doing anything. It's like whatever.
It is a decidedly non-alarmed horse.
Yeah.
The horse was bringing the wrong energy to the scene.
I mean, one of my pet peeves during every kill was like, would it have killed them to put in a crunch sound between the bunny approaching and then the cutaway to like an arm? There's never a sound. You just all of a sudden there's just an arm on the ground. Put a crunch in there. Put a noise in there.
There were a couple of crunches, but they sounded like cartoon noises.
There were later, but like most of the kills, there was no sound whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was just like, now there's a head. Now there's
it would just cut right to it. It's like, oh, she's getting away, and then there's a torso with a Microsoft Paint red drawn on her waist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, it's been a few weeks since I've seen this, but I seem to recall also some on-screen screams that that make that girl in the shower from the beginning of De Palma's Blowout sound like an absolute masterclass in scream queendom.
Our supposed main character's scream, having seen the Easter Bunny or whatever the hell we're calling it, and running past the asshole.
Yeah.
That was the weirdest scream.
Yeah, there was some weird. There's also the.
Doing?
I think the top one of the topless girls, like you see her back up to hit her mark, like she's actually like repositioning herself, and then flapping her arms and standing in place before she gets hit by a car.
That was one of my favorites because she was also lightly jogging away from the Beaster Bunny that doesn't actually move very fast. Every shot was it just in the same place.
And it's often green screened even when there's nothing to where it doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
Maybe they only had it in the studio or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, the Beaster Bunny is kind of a glorious goof in its own right. It's worth watching a few seconds of this movie just to see what an absolute goony bird the Beaster Bunny is.
It looks like one of the Fireys.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
The first appearance of the Beasterday, when we've got the woman who woke up in lingerie and made herself that picture of whatever the hell, and
well that was Darian Kane. That's okay. Thereby hangs a story in its own right, but go ahead.
And goes out onto the back porch, and the camera just has a shot of her looking past her to the roof and to the Beaster Bunny just sort of hovering, poking its head over. I thought that was hilarious.
I am pretty sure that was a reference to the original Godzilla.
Really? Okay, I can see that.
Because that's a very close to the shot where they first see Godzilla coming over the ridge, and he's like peeking over and everybody's running, but it's just this guy peeking. And considering the amount of references that are so blatant to the point where they have to fucking tell the audience, hey, we just made a reference. Somebody wake up Hicks. That offended me.
Yeah.
Making kind of an Apocalypse Now reference and then saying that's from Apocalypse Now is not. That's like explaining the joke.
Yeah. Well, they knew it didn't land, so maybe the explanation will. I don't know.
Well, I mean, this was released in what, 2014?
Yeah.
The Snig brothers, the gentlemen responsible for this,
the electrical designers and
are an interesting pair. One of them is actually a pretty good cinematographer, but the one whose fingerprints are most acute all over this are, I guess, Zachary Snig, aka John Backus, who peaked around 2000 or
John
so.
John Backus. How do I know that name?
The Erotic Witch Project.
There it is.
Oh.
See, Girl Explores Girl, Alien Seduction, Erotic Ghost. A lot of stuff from an outfit called Seduction Cinema, which weirdly enough actually did produce some legitimately good movies and some legitimately interesting filmmakers, but Backus was not one of them. The Backusville stuff was at best low entertainment with pneumatic actresses getting interested in each other. Darian Kane, of course, as the Lemonade victim, being the most overt shout back to that. Now, the interesting thing is she actually was a pretty good actress, but not for John Backus. Tony Marsilia in the likes of Lust for Dracula actually could wrench a good performance out of her, but this was not Backus's talent. He just wanted the women to take their tops off.
Yeah. I mean,
this is more information than I ever wanted to know about this movie. I fucking hated watching it. I did not enjoy my time. Oh, thank you, Travis, for welcoming us back. We are back.
Hey, Travis.
Hey, Travis.
Travis.
We missed you too.
The best thing about it was the bunny itself with its weird puppetry. I would love to make a shitty monster movie and have the chutzpah to be able to make it that bad and still release it.
Release it.
Because I could do that. I could make that movie in my garage, and I wouldn't have to spend $150,000, which was the budget.
You remember my standing complaint about Sucker Punch is, how many good movies could we have made with this budget? The answer in this case is 10. But
By
no,
the way, just a little sidetrack. You notice over the weekend, Zack Snyder released. He did an interview where he said that if he were allowed to go back and put back in the thing that Sucker Punch was taken from him, and that if he were allowed to go back and make a new cut of it, he could show everybody what it was supposed to really be like.
Well, that's interesting.
Oh.
And he said, and I'm not joking, he said this without any semblance of irony. None.
Didn't that already have a re-edit once anyway?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It was.
I saw it once.
I don't even.
It was a
filing that. This is an odd example of a movie that actually doesn't take itself seriously enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For satire to work, it needs two things. One, it needs to be a satire of something.
Yeah.
Two, it needs to actually play it even a little bit straight.
You can't. Not every death can be a joke. Not every death can be some titty woman. Because it's fine if you want to show titty women in your horror movie. There's a long history of titty women in movies, but
even Bacchus made better titty woman movies.
Yes. Yeah. You need to have. You can't be into horror comedy if there are no stakes, and there are no stakes if all of your characters are introduced and killed in the same scene.
Except for the dog catcher you would never ever let on your property ever.
Yeah.
Well,
without a warrant.
If we break this movie down, it is about 20 minutes of an actual plot, and then all of the side moments where we kill a random person that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
So
the plot in the meantime is Jaws.
I mean,
that was the 20 minutes I was referring to.
I mean, I actually looked forward to the random kills just because they were more interesting than the actual story. And I was just
that is true.
I didn't care about any of the. I didn't care about any of the characters. Might as well watch someone get killed.
So I have previously said that low budget horror, the cheap stuff that nobody's ever heard of that I found in a discount bin. This is where I live. This movie right here is not where I live. This is the intersection of titty comedy and stoner humor that is just calling itself a horror. It's in the trappings of horror. It's not that it's not trying to be a horror film. It's just so bad at it, it doesn't actually end up being one.
It actually manages to fall out of brief.
Yeah. And it just falls apart. This is a cake that didn't rise. This is a souffle that fell. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I have nothing else to say about this movie. The special effects were the best part.
It is not Zachary Snig's best work.
Damning with
how's that
praise.
Yeah. The Wikipedia on this is amusing in its own right, particularly when you get to the reception section. This film has not been received well by most who have viewed it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's surprising.
There's also a reference to a quote from one Fabio Sokol. The superscript says, "Who?" One of the greatest experts in the movie industry said it's a masterpiece of the horror genre. I actually looked this up. The only Fabio Sokol I could find online was an attorney. I don't know if that was the reference point, but in any event, it's an interesting thing that this movie exists, but that doesn't mean anybody actually needs to watch it for any reason.
No, they really don't.
I just had my whole system freeze up on me and hiccup.
Yeah, we saw you. You never broke audio.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems to have corrected itself.
Well, okay then.
All right.
Okay.
Whatever.
Right.
Whatever. All right. Yeah, this movie
Yeah.
sucks. Shane, you want to
I will,
say
I will
anything?
give
You
it one
give a shit?
compliment.
About
Oh,
this
sorry.
movie? No, I'm done. I
Okay.
barely remember it as is.
Okay.
I will give it one compliment, and it's the compliment I end up giving most of these absolutely worthless pieces of shit. It's got a really good cover. It's got the kind of cover that I would actually drop $2 on. I know it's bad, but it's like, oh wow, this creature is going to be in the movie. No, it's not.
Spend more than 2 seconds looking at that Photoshop job, and you will notice that 90% of the monster is just an iguana, like made black and white.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is.
I have terrible taste.
It
What can I
has
say?
an iguana body, and it has a bunny head, and fucking God, it's
It's the direct-to-video, or it's the DVD original horror principle. It's most of the time, the better the artwork is, the less likely anything resembling the artwork is to appear in the movie.
except
Oh,
for
yeah, I
Phenomena.
9 times out of 10.
Was that Phenomena
The one with
Oh,
Jennifer Connelly?
with the bugs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I think
cover
it was called
fucking awesome.
When I was a kid, I think
they called it
Creepers.
Creepers.
I remember
yeah.
that
Yeah.
cover
Oh.
from being scared of it when I was a kid.
Well, that was the 80s. The 80s was very different. And that was not direct to DVD. That was like all but direct to VHS. That's a very different animal. Yeah.
I
That was
love
after
that
they
movie.
stopped. That was an awesome freaking movie.
Phenomena is a movie with so much in it that at the midpoint of the movie, a chimpanzee finds a razor blade in a trash can, and by the end of the movie, you forgot about it, and you are genuinely stunned when he shows up again to save the day. That's,
I love
mean-
you all. I love everyone.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That-
All right, let's move on from this bullshit
anything else?
to our fun little segment of what we watched over the past month now. So
Yeah.
let's keep this to a minimum. I have exactly 4 things I'm going to talk about.
I could do 3 or 4.
I have titles I'm going to mention, 3 I will actually talk about.
Okay.
I've been through a lot lately. My inclination is to actually just scroll off all of the things that I've actually seen and let you guys tell me which ones you want to hear about.
That's an actually interesting approach.
I get, yeah. Are you going to do TV and movies?
There are a couple of TV bits worth talking about. Fallout, mostly.
Yeah.
I've only watched the first episode of that, and I want to watch
haven't
the
seen
rest.
any of it.
So
We'll talk about that once everybody's done with it.
We'll talk about that when everybody's seen it. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Start.
I just what? We'll start with you. Okay, go.
Oh shit. Okay. So
Weird.
That's what happens when you make noise.
God damn it. All right, so we've got the kids' movies. Real briefly. So first off, where is it? It was time.
I haven't seen that.
Awesome.
I had that exact disc. I haven't watched that since I saw it in theaters. I need to rewatch it.
Yes, you do. It is just as good as you remember it, if not better. Kids, my daughter loved it. We showed it only to my daughter. I don't think the boys could take it at the moment.
That
They were
shoe. It's the
upset
shoe.
about it.
It's the shoe.
No, actually, it was Judge Doom for my daughter.
The eyes.
No, I think it was the eyes, but she was genuinely spooked. Not during the movie, but after, when she went to bed, she came out and said, "I'm worried about that guy with the big vat of stuff." Like, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Did you explain to her that that's Doc Brown?
No.
Does she
but
know Doc Brown?
She does. We actually did Back to the Future not too long ago, so she knows Doc Brown. But I wasn't going to shatter that yet.
That's like the first thing I did. Start to point out, oh, that actor you're scared of and you say you're having a nightmare about? Did you know that person played this person in this other thing? And they'll be like, what? What? That's the same person?
Yeah,
Genius.
at her age, I didn't realize Indiana Jones was the same person as Han Solo. So I'm not going to destroy their world yet. Scooby-Doo 2, the live-action movie.
The one that
was
James
fine.
Gunn wrote.
No, that's the
Yes, I
first
think so.
one. I thought that was
Oh,
the
was it
first
the
one.
first one? Okay, you could be right.
Yeah, I thought Gunn did the
Um,
first one and he did the second one. Seth
Never
Green, I like the second one better.
Never seen that.
You've never seen All Dogs Go to Heaven? It is a movie without an audience. It is too kiddie for adults and too adult for kids.
Yeah,
And it is just berserkoid. The kids loved it. They ate it right up.
I
Okay,
hated
so-
that movie.
Burt Reynolds.
You hated it. Oh, well,
I was a cat person
as
at
a-
the time.
So was
Oliver
I.
and Company, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even I have.
So
a
it's
little
like,
trouble swallowing
dogs don't do shit. Cats go to heaven. Fuck you. That's
I think that follows the old adage of heaven for the climate, hell for the company. So there you go. Did get around having watched this doesn't even show up. All of the Insidious franchise, Conjuring. Never actually seen it.
Oh, goodness.
Better
think I've-
than most of the Insidious ones.
That's the one with Vera
Well, yeah.
Farmiga,
Yeah.
or wait,
Yeah.
Vera Farmiga and Patrick
Vera-
Wilson.
okay, I've seen
Yeah.
that. I've seen just that one.
The Conjuring movies are actually kind of fun. I actually unironically like the Conjuring franchise.
I'm a little worried. I have the other movies. I'm a little worried because there's such a drastic fall off in the Insidious series. I'm worried that The Conjuring followed the same arc, especially when you get to Annabelle and the like.
Annabelle was another one of those things where the first movie wasn't great, but the sequels/prequels were actually really good.
Mm.
The Conjuring verse is evidence that and I've said this on Bastards a few times. The Conjuring universe is absolutely evidence that Warner Brothers can do a working shared universe. It's just not the frickin' DC one.
I can't watch
Yeah.
those movies. I fucking hate them because I hate the people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah. The Warrens.
Yeah, fuck them. Fuck them. We're getting this mythology of them as this rose-colored glasses as some kind of prove the supernatural bullshit. I'm on this group that talks about movies and whatnot, and Conjuring always comes up, and they always talk about the Warrens because you always got two sides. You got the side that says the Conjuring movies are the best horror movies ever made, and then you got the other side that says fuck the Warrens. And then everybody else is kind of in the middle. So when you get people talking about it, you'll get these people saying, I don't think they did anything wrong. I think that they were actually good people. I think that they just got bad press, when these people were legitimately scamming people. It is well documented. And to me, making a rose-colored glass, it would be kind of like if we decided to go and 50 years from now, 30 years from now, make a movie about Trump where he is cleaning up all of the bad shit in the government. And we made it look like it was true.
Not know The Conjuring was going to lead here.
But to me, it's just a similar. It's the same. If I can't get behind making Trump look like a
higher
decent guy,
stakes example.
I did not dislike The Conjuring that much because I took it as entirely fiction.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I roll with it.
I mean, I don't like the Amityville Horror, but I don't not like it because it was a homeowner's scam. I don't like it because I don't think it's a good movie.
It's not.
No.
Yeah.
But
the first Amityville Horror is not good.
But you know that
I know all about the Warrens.
No, I mean you're not a common person. Your average moviegoer is going to go to that and be like, "Those are good people," and believe that.
I'm not sure that's true because every single conversation I have ever had about the Conjuring universe has started with someone saying the Warrens are pieces of shit. So you can rest assured that your message is getting out there.
And that's why I'm talking about the people who are not part of our groups. The people that we don't.
I'm talking about anyone I've ever talked to about
quality control for the non-aligned.
Yeah. Because I know plenty of people who I don't know personally, but through observation over the years of disliking these movies so vehemently and being told that I was wrong so vehemently.
No.
I have found that your average person, like, oh, do you? No, I'm not going to say anybody's name. Do you No, I don't.
Ooh.
No, I'd have to use an example online, and I'm not going to do that because you don't want to
That's
use
probably
names.
a bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have you ever had a friend who
Uh-oh.
has zero movie knowledge, doesn't even
Mhm.
like movies, has seen a
Mhm.
handful of movies? They like Star Wars.
Mhm.
They like a Marvel movie or two.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Just, the
Avatar.
mainest of the mainstream.
How old? I was about to say, how old is this hypothetical naif?
It can run the gamut.
Yeah.
And you get these people that are extremely they're like cheap. They will follow whatever the masses tell them.
Yeah, most of the kids haven't even heard of Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
So you're saying they stayed at a Beverly Hills Inn last? No, you're saying they stayed at a Holiday Inn last night. Therefore, now they're an expert, right?
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
I like that analogy.
I
Yeah,
know
no,
kids who
it's
think you're supposed to watch the Star Wars movies in order, like
Well,
like 1 through 9.
I mean,
In
there's
their
a whole
defense-
generation that grew up with the prequels, though.
Yeah.
That's kind of a thing now.
it is a thing. Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't fault them for that because that's what they grew up
I know
with.
kids who haven't made it to 4.
Yeah, Well, why would they after watching 1, 2, and 3?
Thank you. You get it.
Yeah, but I mean,
Machete order forever. Anyway.
mhm.
I got lost in making the point. The point is basically people are easily led. When they hear something enough times, that becomes fact. And if enough people report something as fact, then it becomes truth, regardless of whether or not it actually is.
Just recognize when you're doing the same thing, because it can fall in all directions.
Yeah, this is how religions are formed. So
I think that not watching movies about scam artists is a fine is a
yeah,
fine
but
response.
The Wolf of Wall Street is so relentlessly entertaining.
Is it? Well, it's not for me. I didn't like Wolf of Wall Street.
I laughed my ass off so hard for that movie because fun coupons. Fun coupons.
Yeah, I just find all of those people so
now,
gross.
now,
20-year-old me could have taken it.
Now, granted, Jordan Belfort was not actually presented as an unequivocally positive or admirable character. That was part of the entertainment factor. Yeah, I'm with Matt. The Conjuring movies I take as just straight up fiction from the get-go, and at that level, and given that I have bought all of the movies that I have in that franchise on disc at Dollar Tree / remainder prices.
Yeah.
I don't feel too bad about it.
Any rate. Whoop. Somebody froze?
Jenner froze for like a second, but he's back.
Oh, okay. Okay, so getting to one of the movies I actually wanted to discuss. Exorcist Believer.
Yeah.
Which I liked, and nobody else did.
Okay, everyone. I have a question for you.
I have no interest in that movie.
How can you both have your cake and eat it too?
Have 2 children and kill one of them and keep the other alive?
Make 2 cakes. So there are 2 people possessed in this movie. And were you guessing, or did you actually know how the movie ends?
No, I'm guessing. I'm guessing that they want, knowing the director and how he wants to, he's like, I want to be hardcore, but he's never hardcore enough. He always steps up to the line and then pulls it back. It just seems like the perfect idea.
That is what he did.
Okay.
There are 2 girls. They are both possessed. In the end of the movie, one of them dies, one of them doesn't. And it
And the whole
is
exorcism is non-denominational as well.
yeah, it's not non-denominational, it's every denominational. We've got a Catholic
Multi-denom.
priest, we've got a Baptist, we have a woo-woo woman of undetermined origin. It's because that's what the devil is really scared of, unfocused spiritualism.
The United Colors of Benetton, spiritually
Yes,
Do
speaking.
you believe?
Yeah, it is an exorcism carried out by a bunch of people who are not religious but are very spiritual. And it does this so it can do nothing with the Baptist, kill the Catholic priest, and just randomly at the end the devil tells them they have to choose, and the white family makes a choice, so their kid is killed, so the black family's kid survives. It is it is just such a cop out of expectations in a movie. And I was really disappointed in this. And at the very, very end, guess who gets reunited? Reagan and her mom in a scene. Was it after the credits?
It was it was right before the credits.
Right before the credits. Literally, they introduce the mom because they bring her in as an expert in exorcism to try and deal with this. Not that she did anything in the original movie, but
Yeah,
okay.
it's like Jaws 3.
Yeah,
gets
at which
blinded.
point one of the possessed kids jumps up and stabs her eyes out with a crucifix. And
Okay.
yes, because of course they do.
Ah,
And
the
then
legacy
in
of
the end
that
the
character
movie,
is intact.
yeah, and then at the end of the movie, Reagan shows up because she had been estranged from her mom until this point. There is no point to her being there. It's the most blatant walk-on cameo I can think of ever seeing.
Nostalgia
It's
trolling.
yeah,
Oh,
it's the whole
I would-
thing.
All of these are absolutely legitimate criticisms.
I would say
I still really liked this movie.
I would say
really
the Mean
enjoyed it.
Girls remake had a close analog in the walk on, because
Oh, okay.
Lindsay Lohan does show up as a new character for like 2 minutes in the new Mean Girls.
Okay.
Reagan
is on screen for less than 30 seconds.
I
but
saw
yeah.
this trailer in the theater and had no idea what. It wasn't until the musical Sting plays during the trailer that I had any inkling that this was an Exorcist movie. It just seemed like it was all. I don't remember it very well. I remember it just being all over the place. I'm like, what is this movie? What kind of movie is this? What is this about? And then, oh, there's the Exorcist music. They made another Exorcist. Okay.
Yeah, I have seen 1, 2, 3, and this one. I haven't seen any of the two that
Be
came
right
in
back.
between. This is.
Oh, the
What did you
prequels?
like about it, Jenner?
I don't. It's been a minute since I've seen it. I thought it was well acted. I thought it was well shot. I was interested in where it was going. I probably need to see it again. It was not, I will freely allow, anywhere near as good as particularly the first season of the Exorcist TV series from a few years
I
back,
haven't seen it.
which did have did kind of play with the callback to the source material in one of the all-time great surprise reveals about halfway through the season as to just what the fuck was going on. That I'm not going to elaborate on, but if you get a chance to go back and watch the Exorcist TV series, I still need to actually watch the second season, but the first season was weirdly kind of perfect. I don't know. In this case, I think I was more sort of enjoying the kind of gleeful homage than any of the necessary sort of specific story beats or constructive elements of the thing. I was just kind of happy that there was another Exorcist movie in its own right. For some reason, I like every movie in this series, even number 2, which is not good, but it's fascinating.
Number two sent Casey into hysterics when I showed it during movie night back in the day. It was, yeah. At any rate, wrapping mine up, I did also see three films while on flights, so as usual, gripping the back of the airline seat in terror.
No.
I saw The Holdovers.
Oh, I want to see
Which-
that.
Ah, one of the
This
better
is-
recent remakes of Scent of a Woman.
Okay. I can't say I see that, but all right.
Mm.
I don't know. It's been so. I watch too much genre. I feel like I can't even talk about just straight drama anymore.
It's more of a comedy drama, but yeah.
Yeah, there's not a great deal to it. I feel like most of its acclaim is coming from the fact that it dared to not be absurd and ridiculous in any particular fashion. It's just Paul Giamatti as a sympathetic but kind of jerky character. And
It's
his
Giamatting for 2 hours, and that's a thing
Yeah.
that's absolutely worth watching in its own right.
Yeah, exactly. But I go to film for plots most of the time, and there's not a lot to this one. What there is good, but yeah. I watched Wonka against, I believe, the advice of the people on this podcast.
Like that.
Oh, you liked it, Shane?
Yeah.
It was really pretty treacly fluff. I guess if I went into it wanting treacly fluff, almost literally, then I would get that. But there's a small part of me that is offended that they locked up Prodnose. What is it? Slugworth, Prodnose, and the third one whose name I can't remember. The other candy makers, when they are still competitors of Wonka's in the universe when we get to the Gene Wilder version.
No, but Slugworth worked for him.
Yeah, he's like his right-hand
He
man.
said he was Slugworth. I always thought that was a guy pretending to be a man named Slugworth. Maybe I'm wrong. It's been a while since I saw the Gene Wilder one.
It seems weird that there would be like this famous candy maker named Slugworth that everybody knows, and then the kids all see him in tunnels and shit, and they're like, "Who the fuck are you?" It's just
Well, I
know about you, I would never, ever in a million freaking years buy candy with the Slugworth name on it.
no.
Ever.
We buy Bernie Bott's jelly beans that are like what, snot and gravel flavored.
Yeah, I don't fucking buy those either.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And my last one is also on an airplane. I watched Wish.
Oh
Have any of you seen Wish?
no,
Is that
nobody
the
saw
epic
Wish.
nobody saw Wish? Is
That's
that
the
the
100th
epic?
anniversary thing.
Yeah.
Is that the epic non-event we've been led to believe that it is?
It is fucking awful.
Hmm.
Oh my god.
It's not just mediocre and boring. It's actually bad.
That's the worst. The worst you can be is mediocre. If it was bad, it would be laughable. It would also be a bad Disney animated film. It's pointless. It is extremely narrow scoped. The entire story takes place in a castle and slightly surrounding the castle. It has a tiny cast. There is one character in it who is a little funny. It is the goat who gets a voice, which I know you saw in the preview. Has a couple of mildly funny lines. It's basically the dad in Beasterday, which will now be my reference point.
Okay.
The plot makes no sense. Okay, here is the plot in a nutshell. Everybody who comes to this kingdom and becomes a citizen takes their fondest, most driving wish, and it gets magically sucked out of them by the ruler of this nation. Willingly, they volunteer to do this, and he stores them all in a big room. And every once in a while, he comes out and grants one of the wishes. There are like hundreds of these wishes, and like yearly or maybe twice a year, he'll come out and grant one wish.
What a
and
dick.
Everyone who has their wish sucked out of them forgets what the wish was until it is granted. It is
That could be an interesting premise if it was done with something that was sort of deliberately leaning into surreality. Like, I could see a Czech movie absolutely rocking that premise.
Yeah, but not Disney.
As far as current Disney, that just feels inexplicable.
Yeah, and our hero applies to be a apprentice to the ruler of this nation, and is shocked when she discovers that he's not going to grant most of the wishes because he regards most of them as potentially dangerous.
Most wishes are potentially dangerous.
Well, the example they give is her father, who is her grandfather, who is 100 years old that day. His wish was to inspire people, but it's too unfocused. The ruler is afraid he might inspire them to revolt, so he's never going to grant the wish. And this prompts her to go out and wish upon a star, which comes down in animate form, and then the rest of the fucking movie happens, and it's awful.
Yeah, this feels like something that does not effectively answer the Children of Men problem.
It was designed so
Children
thoroughly
of Men
by
had a
committee.
problem?
No, the Children of Men problem is, how do you make me care about a problem we don't actually have?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
I guess
it is so obviously designed by committee. She has a group of God, it is such an obvious checking the boxes without actually caring about the substance of the film. There's nothing to this thing. It is going to be justifiably forgotten. That's all I have.
I hate to say, this actually has me curious, just in that illustrative, dismal failure type of thing.
I ain't got time for that
Disney
shit.
Plus.
And it's on Disney Plus, and consequently,
Yeah.
I feel like
I don't have to pay extra for it.
My nieces and nephews like it, but they're like
really
5. I mean, they're 5,
Okay,
3,
well.
and 2. I think 6, 3, and 2, something like that. They like it, but they like anything animated, so it doesn't even matter.
So do I usually, honestly. I mean, I'm a sucker for animation, but this just and all the songs are bad. I thought Disney's business model was find someone like Lin-Manuel Miranda and like lock them into a lifetime contract until they die of something to make songs for their movies forever. Because that's the only way that most of their previous good songwriters got out of the contract.
By dying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? Ankman?
Randy Newman.
Randy Newman never had a full-time contract like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Newman was already famous enough that he didn't need to do that.
Menken and Ashman. That's the chief one. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Fine, I'm sorry. I went longer than I planned. Sorry.
It's all right.
All right. Let's go to Jenner next. Just start naming shit.
I'll just start naming shit. Raise your hand if you hear something interesting. Let's see. Like I say, of course, I already mentioned Fallout, which we're not going to talk until everybody's seen it. Short answer, fucking good.
Yep.
Let's see. Did not like stop motion.
Haven't seen it.
It's a movie?
And about somebody obsessively making a stop motion animation film. Actually did not like it one tiny little bit. Weirdly enough, did like Blumhouse's Night Swim. Basically the first movie released this year, but kind of a model of ethical construction and attempting to make good decisions where possible in a horror movie. Not actually scary, but interesting to watch and kind of relatable. Really interesting movies recently. The Shudder original You'll Never Find Me is two people in an isolated mobile home in a driving rainstorm. Turns out to be more interesting than you'd think it would be. Very, very sharply written and acted. So give that a look. Lola from 2022, which is currently on Peacock. Found footage, not exactly time travel movie, but basically a brilliant scientist with the help of her erstwhile sister, has made basically a device in 1938 that can pick up radio and television signals from the future. Hijinks ensue. Haunting movie. Molly and Max in the Future, which is a romantic comedy set very near the end of time. Basically, when Harry met Sally, if the process of making cheese was in the process of accidentally creating a black hole that's going to consume the entire universe. That is a plot element. It's fun. It's great to look at. It's kind of a hoot. Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls, which I think I mentioned on Bastards last week. Was not expecting much from this, but it turned out to be really, really charming, really, really funny. Gives Jeffrey Combs his juiciest role in years, and ends up with some really hilarious riffs on, well, specifically the video for Meatloaf's I Would Do Anything for Love. So worth checking out in its own right. Let's see. Steve Martin, two-part documentary on Apple TV about both the stand-up career and the subsequent film career of Steve Martin. Very entertaining, very sort of interesting encapsulation of what was the deal with, well, Steve Martin being the biggest stand-up comedy in history and kind of leans into being a certain measure of sympathetic for the degree that I never actually found his stand-up terribly funny. The context there is interesting. Saw Dune Part 2. If I was left a little bit cold by the first one, still liked it, but still liked Lynch's better. Part 2 kind of fucking kills it. Part 2 I found kind of endlessly fascinating and exhilarating. So I need to go back and see the first one, followed by the second one, just to kind of get a full sense of the thing, but kind of retroactively improved my experience of the first one. Let's see, aside from that, recent film Baghead, not to be confused with the one that I have mostly forgiven Greta Gerwig for, and will probably never forgive Mark Duplass for. Much more recent film, basically about a witch who's trapped in a basement, who is capable of manifesting people's dead loved ones for about 2 minutes before things go pear-shaped. A little predictable, but fairly sharply done. Neat supporting performance by Peter Mullen. Would make an interesting stage play. No, nothing monumental, but an okay horror programmer. And aside from that, discovered an interesting director who was not previously too much on my radar, despite having seen one of his other movies before. Estonian director named Mart Sander, some of whose films are in Estonian and some of which are in English. Made a nifty little portmanteau film in 2019 called Eerie Fairy Tales, which is sharply written, well performed, interestingly shot on good video. I mean, you can tell it's an exceedingly low budget movie, but it's one of those ones where every cent is on the screen. The script is interesting. Some of the guys' other movies look interesting. It's worth a look, and that actually is pretty much it. So, yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So I do want to hear why you hated stop motion, because I know only the basic premise, and I would have thought you'd love it based on the premise.
I thought I was going to love that too. The stop motion stuff itself is pretty fascinating, but the pointless torturousness of the things that both that happen to the protagonist, that the protagonist does to herself, and that the protagonist does to other people, just kind of deprives the whole thing of any entertainment value. It's not entertaining. There is nothing about the movie that is pleasant or interesting to watch. It's just somebody breaking the fuck down in a graphic sense, and for no discernible reason other than basically having no internal locus of control. And realistically, you can kind of pull that from the trailer. So while it is aesthetically interesting, it is just unpleasant to watch without anything to redeem it from being unpleasant to watch.
Sounds like Contagion.
Contagion was kind of interesting just to see Matt Damon kind of stumble
No.
through.
Not that one. There was a different one. Sorry.
Oh, you mean Contamination?
Contaminate.
The Luigi
Maybe,
Cozzi
but
movie.
The one that had at least 2 parts. I think there was a third too. Yeah, never mind.
Okay, that I don't know. But anyway.
Okay. Now I got to look it up. Go ahead.
You done?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good.
A lot of stuff in there.
Yeah. Shane, you wanna go next, or should I?
I can go, sure.
Okay.
I'm trying to decide which one to start with. Okay, I'll start with this one. So, my friend and I were thinking about going to see a movie the other night, and we thought about going to see Monkey Man. We looked at the movie listings, and we saw that they were showing the Christina Applegate classic, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, a movie I liked a lot as a kid.
Wait, they were showing not the remake?
Wait, hang on.
Oh.
I didn't know there was a remake.
Oh!
My friend hadn't seen
Surprise!
it, so I said, let's go. And we're sitting there in the theater, and then the BET Plus logo comes on. I'm like, wait a minute. No, they didn't. Did they? Oh my God, they did.
Totally did.
So I had no idea this existed.
Yeah.
Sat through it. How many of you guys have seen the original? Like you would think from the title, it's like
I'm aware of it.
It's mostly about her posing as an adult and entering the workforce to support her kids. The grandmother is out of the picture in the first 10 minutes. They get rid of the body, whatever.
Yeah.
David Duchovny's in it.
Yeah, you would think that making this about a black girl doing this would have all sorts of implications. No, this is just a carbon copy of the original. You would think that, her getting a job, that would be an issue. No, just she's working at a company where everyone who works there is black. So she just gets the same job immediately.
Wait, is her brother kind of like a dipshit stoner who goes, the dishes are done, man?
He says the dishes are done, man. I'm saying it's a carbon copy.
That's awesome.
Except instead of skeet shooting, he plays baseball with the dishes.
That's fine. That's close enough.
The mentor I can't remember who played her in the original, but she's played by Nicole Richie, who I've never seen anything before. Is shockingly, distractingly bad. I can barely utter her lines. The one major change I could think of is that in the original, Nate's buddy John Getz plays this creepy guy who's like trying to bang Christina Applegate, and she's like 16. In this one, understandably, they didn't do that. They just make it so that she catches the guy cheating on the mentor. Everything else is pretty much the same. No comment on race well, the one comment on the fact that they're black is that the babysitter's white still, so they're like, we can't call the cops because they'll think we killed the babysitter.
That's fair.
I'm gonna go with the blackening. Probably pulled that joke off better.
It wasn't a joke. It was just a line of dialogue.
Maybe we call the cops. No, but seriously, yeah.
Yes, this was just it's just baffling that they remade this movie. I don't even know why they did it. Like the original wasn't beloved or anything, and they didn't update it. There's nothing new.
I think the original has a kind of cult belovedness about it for people of that period.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it as a kid, but I'm like, who was clamoring for this? And
yeah,
we get a remake of this. We still can't get a new Remo Williams movie. Name me 2 or 3 other movies that they could actually play on pay cable channels during the daytime.
What?
Yeah.
What was
PG-13, yo?
Like Beastmaster? Yeah. Beastmaster was PG.
Yeah,
and that had naked boobs.
Well, that was PG before 13.
Yeah.
Even so.
Was it?
That's true.
Was Beastmaster before 13?
That was like 1981.
Really? God.
Yeah.
What is it?
I gotta look it up now.
PG-13 wasn't a thing until 85.
I actually have no idea. I've never looked up Beastmaster's date of creation because it's just always been there.
It's always been there.
82.
82.
So that was before. Yeah, that would have been before.
Yeah.
The Don Coscarelli movie that is not Phantasm. Anyway, or John dies at the end. Even so.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
Is that all you saw, Shane? You have more?
Oh, I mean, I have 3. The other one I saw, Ghostbusters, whatever the name of it was.
Oh, the new Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I liked Afterlife. I don't remember. I saw it once. This new one, okay, everybody's back, including the OGs, and they're in it a lot more. Although Bill Murray's only a little bit.
Rick Moranis isn't back.
Not Moranis, but Annie Potts is back. Slimer's back, and that's the problem. This movie has like 8 different plot threads. If you guys have seen the trailer, everything in the trailer is from like the last half hour. The first like hour and a half of the movie is like 8 different stories, just kind of listlessly going, and then also Kumail Nanjiani's in it. He's the best part of the movie, predictably.
I've heard that, yeah.
The movies, they're just kind of like putzing along, doing these different things, and they sort of converge, and all of a sudden evil ice god is there, and he freezes New York. And then there's the big showdown. There's this one shot near the end. So the entire city freezes, right? The final scene just takes place in their firehouse. We don't even really see what happens in New York. It's frozen. They're like, okay, we were just going to fight the god in our firehouse. There's a shot when the god comes out, and there's a reverse shot on the Ghostbusters, and there's fucking 50 of them. Not really, but every character now that we've been, all the new people, Paul Rudd and the kids, the old guys, Andy Potts, Kumail Nanjiani, they're all in full Ghostbusters
Fucking
gear.
Melissa McCarthy.
I think it's supposed to be like a money shot, but it just looks hilarious. There's just 30 guys standing there in the same outfit, holding proton packs, looking at the camera. I think Slimer saves the day too, or something dumb like that. I don't know. It was boring.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's the worst part. It's boring.
Yeah.
It just takes forever to go anywhere.
What part did Patton Oswalt play? Because he's in the trailer.
Yeah, he's just fuck, I forget now.
He looks like an info dump character.
Oh yeah, he's an info dump character. He works in a museum because basically the plot is their containment system from the original is now filling up, and they never made a plan for it. Then Kumail shows up with an artifact from her that he's a random guy. He finds this artifact that his grandmother left him, and there's an evil god trapped inside. So they go to the museum and talk to Patton, and Patton explains what's going on. And then eventually the god gets out, and then all the trapped ghosts, the overflowing ghosts, also like merge with the god or something like that. I don't know.
So I'll watch it.
I will still watch it too. I may actually get like discounted tickets because there's a Girl Scout thing that I may get to go with my daughter to go see it. She's seen the other Ghostbusters, so.
I mean, I've liked every Ghostbusters up until now. This one, I was just bored, and
That's
takes.
Well, the other option is to go see Little Shop of Horrors in the theater, so in like the theatrical production. So maybe we'll do that instead.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Then, my question is, I love Bill Murray. Everybody loves Bill Murray. He has this whole thing about like showing up places and happily disrupting people's lives by showing up and being Bill Murray. I feel like he showed up in the last Ghostbusters movie out of respect for Ivan Reitman. I feel like him showing up here feels like more of an obligation. Does it feel like that, or is he look like he's having fun?
He's in it for a couple of scenes. He doesn't really do much. He also looks like he's barely alive. Like,
yeah,
he's really looking his age nowadays. He didn't really make much of an impression. I mean, Dan Aykroyd's actually in the movie quite a bit because he's the one that Kumail goes to. But yeah, nobody really made much of an impression at all, except for Kumail. Like, and he gets powers, and it's the exact same powers that he had in the Eternals. He does the exact same finger guns thing. So I guess he wanted another shot. So then the final. So
I mean, he was useless in the Eternals, but friggin' everybody was useless in the Eternals.
I never finished the Eternals.
I still like that movie. I watched it again. It's not great, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, but at the same time, just based on the way that the character went, you could have extracted Kumail Nanjiani from the movie completely, and it would have had no effect on the plot whatsoever.
He does literally in that movie skip the climax.
He just nopes the fuck out for no reason. Yes,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it returns to drive somebody away later on.
Yeah, he shows up at the end
after all of the shit.
To drive somebody home.
I think he's is he in the post credits with Harry Styles? I can't remember now. But anyways,
I think so,
maybe.
And then the final movie I saw was The Zone of Interest.
Oh, how's that?
Glazer, yes.
What? Glazer, yes. So
yes.
This was a rough movie to watch for a variety of reasons. If you guys don't know what it's about a family who lives outside of Auschwitz. And the entire movie is just them going about their daily lives with Auschwitz in the background. And most of the movie, you hear this low roar in the background that kind of is very is what?
Is it the furnaces?
That's what I thought. That's what, because you can
Oh.
see the smokestacks in the background.
Yeah,
You see the
didn't this
barbed wire.
didn't this get an Oscar for sound design?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
this rumbling is just maddening. I assumed it was the furnaces. I found out. I watched it on Amazon. You know the X-ray thing they do on Amazon where they'll have like trivia and stuff. I
Yeah.
paused the movie to go to the bathroom. The trivia was this is based on a real guy. He left his motor. He paid someone to keep his motorcycle rumbling at all times in the background, so he wouldn't have to hear. Later on in the movie, he leaves, and then you do hear like screaming and gunshots in the background, just kind of in the back, and you still just see the kids playing in the backyard, the women going about their daily chores. This is like
recall that Jonathan Glazer's previous movie that everybody remembers was Under the Skin. Yeah, Glazer has a very, very
Didn't that movie kill a whole family?
Acute sense of how to be disturbing as fuck. Yes, the beach scene in Under the Skin is the single most disturbing scene I can recall in any movie with anything resembling a wide release or professional budget ever.
And having grown up in Florida, 100% plausible because it used to happen all the time.
Yeah, it's absolutely plausible. But Under the Skin is the only movie I've ever seen with a scene in it that my mind actively slides off of once I had a kid.
What?
Because
that scene?
Scene, my mind I cannot think about that scene because my mind will just nope, we're not thinking about that.
Yep.
Yeah, that movie is one of the ones that I keep around to keep an eye on it. That is a movie where I'm going to rewatch it one of these days, but I'm scared of it, so I'm still psyching myself up.
Yeah, so I mean, Zone of Interest, it's a rough watch. It's not an enjoyable experience. It's a beautiful looking film. The camera almost never moves. It's almost all just static shots. People moving in and out of rooms. You're just kind of watching them go about their daily lives, and then they just drone in the background, or then later on just screams.
So if it wasn't Glazer, it would have been Michael Haneke.
Yeah, it's it is also at points very boring because of how just how it's just a slice of life in the face of just utter evil.
Yeah.
How long is it?
I think it's around an hour 40 minutes. So I don't ever need to watch it again. But masterfully done. But it's not an experience I really want to have again.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it, but it sounds really good.
I'm still going to see it at some point.
Yeah,
it's definitely on.
You got to be in the right mood for it. I don't know what mood that would be, but
I can't wait to watch some Holocaust stuff. Yeah, that'll be fun.
You're gonna fire up Shoah.
Oh, yeah,
13-hour.
Every time somebody says Juden, take a shot.
God.
Wow.
So that's all I got.
You know it's Juden, right?
But the
German word is Juden. Not
yes,
Juden.
yes, but people who watch South Park pronounce it like that.
That's true.
Anyway.
All right.
Yay.
I watched some stuff.
Good. We don't have to end on that downbeat note.
Oh, good.
I was thinking about starting with that and ending with "Don't tell Mom the babysitter's dead," but
I think you did it in the right order.
I think that works. Yeah.
All right. What did I watch? I watched a bunch of stuff. I watched Blue Beetle.
How is it?
I started Blue Beetle. Got about 30 minutes into it. It's just not good. It's just not a good movie. There's nothing more to say about it. It's not really it's just not great. It's just not. I mean,
it's a knockoff Marvel movie without any real uniqueness to it, and
it's trying. It is trying very hard to be this kind of like Latino like superhero movie.
It's trying to be empowering.
Right, that's the word I'm looking
Mhm.
for. That's what it's trying to do, and it's trying really hard. And there are some normal, everyday, familial things that look like they of course did well. But the movie itself is just like the superhero side of everything. Everything that's not the family shit is so bad. Like everything, like if they just gave us a movie about this family,
That was the best part about it.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
Blue Beetle himself is not an interesting superhero, so
no,
No, he's
I
not.
mean, there was really nowhere to go
Well, I
with
mean-
that. But
Well,
I
I
like
mean,
the lead.
Ted Cord was.
Yeah.
Jaime Raya's not so much.
You mean not bio-boosted Guyver? Because let's not fool ourselves. That's what Blue Beetle is.
it is Biokush. So yeah, I didn't finish the movie. I'm sure there are people who like it. I'm not going to argue about it. I don't care enough to. I watched No One Gets Out Alive. Now, this is a movie that I have been trying to get all of us to watch on this show for a while, and so I just went ahead and finally watched it because Amelia wanted to. And god damn, is it good? It's
All right.
it's ostensibly it's a horror film that you can that's predictable, like they all are. We've seen 800 trillion horror films. They're kind of predictable to us. That's not saying much. That's not what's interesting about it. What's interesting about it is that it's one of those films where you think it's going in a certain direction, and it actually does. It doesn't like try to trick you with some dumb shit. You're like,
It
oh,
zigs when you expect it to zig.
yeah. It's like when you say, let's say you're watching a movie. This is not to say that this is in this movie or anything. It's not a spoiler or anything like that because I don't want to spoil the ending. But let's say you're watching a movie and suddenly within the movie some Lovecraft shit comes up. Immediately you think, third act. Are we gonna see an abomination? Is Nyarlathotep gonna come? Cthulhu? Is Cthulhu gonna be here? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And then not shit. Because they're like, that was just a red herring.
Oh, really? Okay.
So this one has
No,
what you're
I'm saying-
saying is this has follow through.
This one
Oh,
does
okay.
not do that. This one
Okay.
follows through with that. If you think that
Nice.
there's going to be some kind of awful thing at the end of it, you're probably right. And that's a good thing, in my opinion. It was, it had me,
The anti-twist.
yeah, it kind of was. The ending's so great too. It's just, the ending is just fantabulous.
Can you
I
give us
know
the
we've-
setup or the premise?
I know we've been
Okay.
talking about this. I know we've been talking about this one for a while. I've always been all for doing it at some point. Why don't we do this for next week?
That's what I was
Okay.
kind of thinking about. It's about an immigrant woman who
Well,
is looking for a place to live, and she ends up at this house for other migrant women and only women. And they go in there and they start to realize things are kind of freaky around that place, and
Okay.
everything kind of goes on from there. And it's just
No
great.
spoilers. No.
Yeah, no spoilers. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. A lot of fun to watch. Extremely violent, but not in
Nice it on.
a gross way. What is it on?
What's-
It's on Netflix, I think.
It's on Netflix. It's on Netflix. I
Um,
think it's on Netflix.
pretty sure it's on
It's a-
Netflix.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Alright.
loved it. I loved it. So yeah, we should do that for
Awesome.
next week.
Okay.
I watched The Beekeeper.
Really?
I
Oh,
am
how's that?
told from other people that is big dumb fun.
I mean, have you seen a Jason Statham movie?
I have seen Jason Statham movies. Yes.
Did you
It's
enjoy?
not- but
Did
it's-
you
it's
like
not-
them?
It's not Crank
Oh, yeah.
2, though, is it?
It's,
Yeah.
no, I mean, very
No.
few movies are.
Yeah, that's a whole other tier. It's a Jason Statham movie. If you've seen a Jason
Alright.
Statham movie, you've seen this movie. That doesn't mean it's not fun. It's fun to watch him because he's like an invincible monster that's killing telephone scam artists, and there's nothing better than that, to be honest. But it gets, and also Josh Hutcherson is in it, which is kind of funny.
Yeah?
What's his face from?
Yeah.
Hunger Games?
Yeah, PETA. Yeah.
Yeah.
PETA,
Oh.
okay. I
Oh,
didn't even know
wow.
he was still acting.
He's in the FNAF movie, Five Nights at Freddy's. He
Oh,
starred.
never saw
That was
that.
his.
Yeah.
That was his lead. He was the lead. He's the bad guy. Hey, uh, and Jeremy Irons is his security guy, and
That's unexpected.
Wow.
and
Wow.
it's all about this guy who's taking care of bees and living in the farm on the property of this old woman who is doing nice things for the community. And then the scam artists call her and they're like, your computer's fucked. And she's like, oh no, here's my accounts. And they're like, oh shit, we got $3 million out of this homeless people account. Ha ha, we took all your money, old lady. What do I do now? You're fucked. And so she kills herself. I want to emphasize this is the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Okay. Good, because I would not want that to drag out.
All of that happens in a 5-minute span. The rest of the movie is about revenge for that.
Nice.
That
Okay.
one moment where he was like, you guys suck. Fuck you.
As
also they
someone
shoot
who
his
has been
bees.
Called,
They shoot
What's that?
bees.
They shoot his bees, yeah.
So it's like John Wick, except instead of a dog, it's an old lady and bees.
How do they shoot his bees?
How do you shoot bees?
You shoot the white boxes they live in, and then they all
Okay.
fly out angrily. Anyway, it was fine. It was a waste
Still
of
feels
time.
like a terrible idea.
It was dumb, actiony. I don't mind having paid $5 to rent it.
yeah.
It's
As
Statham
someone-
without Guy Ritchie. Statham with Guy Ritchie can be legitimately inspired. Statham without Guy Ritchie is still, well, yeah. I've said this on multiple occasions, possibly here, but definitely like a couple of days ago, literally. Statham is sort of the modern day Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
He is in a ton of mediocre to lousy movies, but he's great in all of them.
Yeah.
Point to me a bad
Well,
movie that Jason Statham is in. You can point to this one, that one, the other one, etc. Point to me a bad Jason Statham performance. You can't.
But to be
Are you
fair,
Guy Ritchie's Revolver? Although it's
I
been
liked
a very long
Guy
time.
Ritchie's Revolver.
I
Actually,
only okay.
but does
I liked
Statham
both-
have
I liked both cuts of Revolver as well.
does Statham have more than one character?
No.
He doesn't have
No,
to.
not really.
Yeah.
Yes,
He
doesn't
is
have to.
Statham.
So how can we determine whether or not he's good?
He's not good. He doesn't have to be.
He is good at doing one thing. very
Anyway,
well.
it's a Jason Statham movie. It's fine. I had a good time watching it. If you like Jason Statham action movies, go see it. If not, it's fine. It's one of the better ones. Lastly, I'll be brief about this because I mean you don't need me going on, but I went to see Godzilla and Kong, of course.
Oh dear.
Loved
Still
it.
need to see it.
Well, didn't love
You did?
didn't love it. Didn't love it, but loved it. It was fine. It was kind of hilarious in parts because the whole movie is like they're like it's Godzilla and Kong teaming up. But what it really is it's an hour of Kong getting his ass handed to him, followed by with an hour of Godzilla going around to the most powerful monsters in the world and just sucking their nuclear energy into him to make himself this badass monster. And then 30 minutes before the movie's going to end, there's a fucking cameo that shows up, and it's great. And
Cameo human or a cameo monster?
monster.
Okay.
And yeah, who gives a shit about the humans?
Yeah.
And so King Kong comes back up to Earth from the
Phantom
hollow
Zone.
Earth, the hollow Earth, and Kong. It's so good. Kong comes up and he's like standing there looking around for Godzilla because he knows that once Godzilla feels that alpha energy, he's going to come right at him. And we cut to a shot of Godzilla fucking barreling toward him, just flat out sprinting. And Kong goes like this. And then boom! just knocks the shit out of him, and then just wails
I
on
told
him.
you one time already.
And Kong's like getting his head bashed into the ground. It's just like, it's horrifying. And then the cameo shows up and breaks them up and everything. And Godzilla's like, fine, I guess. And so they all team up to go down against the main villains. And the entire rest of the movie is essentially just Godzilla wailing on everything and everything trying to get out of Godzilla's way as he just goes ballistic. And it
That's
kind of
perfect.
and it kind of turns out that they didn't need Kong at all or anybody else. Like, Godzilla had this shit handled. And then at the end of the movie, he just looks at everybody and then he fucks off back to the Coliseum that he's made into his cat bed.
Sounds
Okay.
awesome.
It's great.
This
It's great.
was directly pointed at you, I feel like.
It's a dumb Showa movie. It is amazing to me that in the same 6 months we have gotten a hardcore, serious, true Oscar-winning Godzilla movie and a big, dumb Showa piece of shit where they jump off of fucking asteroids to get at each other and just do the dumbest stuff. And
This one's gonna have Jet Jaguar, I swear
it's
to God.
got to. It's got to. It's fantastic.
At some point.
So yeah, and Dan Stevens was great in it.
He's great in everything.
Yeah.
Looking forward to Abigail.
Yeah, he was magnificent. Yeah, Abigail looks. You know what the problem I have with Abigail is? Shouldn't have given it away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they shouldn't have given
I don't know. I saw the poster on my
Looks
way
like
out.
a lot of fun, though.
It looks like it's just a
Yeah.
picture of a girl. I don't know what
The
I have no idea
problem
what it
is, if you don't give away the concept, how do you get people in the theater? That's the
Yeah.
fucked up thing. No, it's
Yeah.
like, I want to make a trailer that says, just trust me, just see it with no foreknowledge. You'll like it. I swear. Rated R.
That's what I had to do with One Cut of the Dead.
Yeah.
I had to show it to someone who didn't like horror. I'm like, just watch it. Get through the first half hour. I can't tell you why.
I never
you're gonna
say
like it.
this, but trust me.
Yeah, I can't do that with my wife anymore. She doesn't trust me anymore.
I finally have. Well, no, I guess I never did get the trust back after Solo. That was pretty
Whoa.
fair.
That one cashiers your chits.
Yeah, you
Worth
don't
it.
Get a second.
Yeah.
Don't get a second.
Though
Okay.
yesterday,
The phrasing there being specifically deliberately chosen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife. I recently finally talked her into watching Jodorowsky's Dune, and she hated it until the last 15 minutes. When she's like, "Oh, okay, I see. All this stuff went on to do other stuff. Otherwise, I was going to be like, why did you make me watch this?"
Was she just
I'm
like bored of it or something?
she? The first time I lost her trust was I picked out an art film, and those are now the two most terrifying words in the English language to her.
what was it?
I
Like
don't
Jodorowsky?
even remember. No, it wasn't Jodorowsky.
It wasn't the White
but-
Mountains or
The
or was it
version it's a
Magic
version of
Mountain.
Dune from the guy who did El Topo, the Holy Mountain.
Holy Mountain.
Yeah.
No, it was something
Santa
I called an
Sangre.
art film, so it was probably not even. But yeah, she never
No.
trusts anything that is labeled art film ever again. And yeah, apparently I just solidified that again. Damn it.
Oh. Loved that documentary. Of course, I
So did I.
love everybody involved on both sides of that equation, or all sides of that equation. So yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, she's a much bigger Dune fan than I am, so I think the modifications offended her.
That was
Like-
kind of
That makes
Jane's
sense.
experience of the whole thing.
Yeah, Duke Leto is castrated. She's like, why?
But it's about how it didn't happen. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was the moments in Jodorowsky's Dune that had me going, yes, were the same ones that had Jane when we were watching it at the same time. Oh, fuck you, fuck you, man. Rape
Yeah.
with love, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, she had a similar reaction to that. I'd actually forgotten
Yeah.
about that line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one that'll stick with you.
Mhm.
Anyway.
All right.
Any rate.
That's all I watched. I'm sure I watched something
Okay.
else. I watched Fallout. It's great.
You guys already watched the whole thing? I thought it
No.
was one episode a week.
I'm on episode 4.
They dropped the whole thing, hammered
I'm
through it.
That's surprising.
Yeah. Amazon,
Uh,
thankfully, not dicking around like so many others.
It's funny
I have to
that
finish it.
I read an article today saying how they were like, oh, I can't believe Amazon's going back to the old drop it all bullshit. We need to get some patience and see things once a week. And every response to the
Mad
article
noise.
is like, well, how about you just choose how you want to watch it and have some
self-control, you dumbass.
Yeah. You want to watch one a week? Do it.
Yeah.
But
The only argument I've heard for that is that I heard for the one a week model is that things pass too quickly out of the zeitgeist now because people binge it and then they're on to the next thing.
Right, but that's purely for them. That's not for us. That's, we don't benefit from that.
Yeah, well, I have never been current, so it doesn't matter to me.
Like, the whole thing is like there's no water cooler conversations. Who the fuck has water cooler conversations anymore? Who cares?
yeah. It's all different. All right. It's 9:30, which means that if I get upstairs within the next 1 minute, I might still have time to watch an episode of Fallout with Jess before bed. So I'm going to call it.
Alrighty.
All right, so
Whatever movie for next time.
next week we will be watching No One Gets Out Alive.
I'm all for this.
A migrant horror film. Pretty
Nice.
good.
Okay.
All